Hotel workers of Reddit, what are the telltale signs that someone has come in with a prostitute, and are you better at spotting them than the average person? And do you do anything when you see it happening? I worked the front desk at a swanky hotel chain and we knew all the regular escorts. These ladies were paid top dollar and were all super kind, sweet to us. The only thing you could do is be a buzzkill. If they were trafficking children, that's a different story. Immediately call the police. Since you mention it so casually, that probably means it's happened at least once. People suck. As someone who dated an escort for a while, I can tell you that you'll never spot the smart ones. They dress down and don't do anything to call attention to themselves. As for hotel staff, they know but business is business, and unless there is a complaint or an escort makes herself ridiculously obvious, which really just doesn't happen, they're not going to do anything. Is it more expensive to date an escort or hire one? It's only more expensive to date an escort if it's not really dating. Reminds me of the Rental Girlfriend anime. Honest question, how was it? Were you both serious about the relationship? You were not getting jealous? It was okay for you to sleep with others too? Or maybe she could sleep with others as a job, but not outside of it? Sorry for personal and dumb questions, but I'm curious. Good questions. Not okay for me to sleep with others, that would be personal, whereas she was having sex with clients as a job. I know it sounds odd, but that's really how I looked at it, and really the only way you can look at it if you're going to date someone in that profession. We were both quite serious about it, and what I experienced was quite the opposite of jealousy. She wanted to be with me, we didn't use a condom when we had sex, and it would last as long as we had time and energy, and we'd fall asleep together afterwards. Condoms required with her clients. When the hour or two or whatever was up, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, and most importantly, without an envelope stuffed with cash, they'd never be there. If there was any jealousy, it would be them jealous of me. If they had known, obviously escorts are always single, winking face. Thanks for the answer. Like you said, things might sound odd, because of social norms etc., but personally I do get it, I think. A few years ago I was in the Park Plaza Westminster, the one across the bridge from the Houses of Parliament in London, for a work function. All my colleagues were drinking in the bar after a night of drinking in the pub after an evening of eating dinner and drinking on a boat, which all sounds terribly swanky and is entirely out of character. I stepped away from the hotel bar to park myself on a chair in the lobby and send my wife a few good night texts. While I'm doing it, these two girls come stumbling into the lobby. They are both young, probably 18, one is petite, the other is a little chunky, both wearing very tight-fitting, very low-cut, very short party dresses, strong urban London accents, behaving like they are pissed and have possibly had a sniff and are generally being loud. They stop right in front of me and start bickering about where they are supposed to go to. They have the room number for the person they are meeting, but they can't agree on the floor. Presumably they must have spotted me looking at them because they totter over, still bickering loudly, and start quizzing me on the whereabouts of some room number and where the lift is. While they are doing this, the skinny one, who is wearing this white dress that seems to be entirely made up of crisscrossing strips of fabric covering the sensitive parts of her body, parks herself on the seat next to me and starts leaning across me, lavishing her cigarette and vodka breath all over my face, and asks me whether I'm staying in this hotel and what room I'm in. I'm in the middle of saying, I don't know, for about the third time, when two of the doormen from the entrance of the hotel walk up and the one of them goes, "Excuse me sir, you're going to have to take your guests up to your room, they can't be making all this noise in the lobby." I respond, "Haha, no worries mate, but they aren't my guests," but while I'm still speaking they get up and both start tottering off towards the hotel interior with the doorman in pursuit. So I guess on some occasions the hotel workers of Reddit can tell that someone is a prostitute because they look and act like a bad cliché of a prostitute. This sounds like a Brit comedy sketch. Had her own hotel room but would enter into other rooms during the day. It was almost like she lived in the hotel. Paid cash up front. Smoked often and was awake at unusual hours. Always got room service and never ate downstairs at the cafe or bar. The only ways I've seen of spotting them is occasionally at high-end hotels. Taxis or Ubers will drop off single women that then head for the hotel bar. If someone is having dinner with someone way out of their age or league, it's possible it's an escort. If they are reasonably attractive, they don't last long in the bar until they hook up. I did see one that was really good looking, like the kind of good looking that has men's gaze following her across the lobby. She was snapped up almost immediately. In that particular case though, a bunch of Arab Emirates flight attendants were staying at the hotel, so incredible looking women were everywhere. Those ladies travel with handlers though that won't let you near them. They all walk in together and it's like a supermodel review just came through the door. I did spend a very pleasant evening with one Emirates lady that was staying in the hotel because they were upset that she was a bit overweight and basically were making her stay there until she lost a few pounds. Or at least that's what she told me. She was pretty drunk. And pretty good looking. I could not care less what escorts do, I wouldn't bother them or interfere with them trying to work. To be honest, that Arab Emirates attendance sounds like high-end escorts, without the sex, complete with pimps. You should see a whole group of them made up to the nines in their uniforms and berets straight out of the 50s. It will definitely get your attention. It was kinda obvious sometimes, especially when it's the owner of the hotel that brings them in. He was a real horny guy and had a type too, so if a modest-looking older woman walks in asking for a certain room number, then we know what's gonna happen. It's also obvious when it's a foreigner with a dressed-up woman. They usually leave a few hours or the morning after. Oh, we're always told to look out for sex traffickers and their possible victims. B. It's hard to tell difference between prostitute and a possible affair. Let's say Adam Johnson checks into the hotel. We'll have his name on file, but he might want to go under an alias named James Smith. The reservation will be under Adam Johnson with a note saying, refer to him James Smith when talking to him around people or on phone. This is so that if an abusive partner calls asking for him or comes looking, we can open the reservation and find out that he wants to go under different name and not tell the partner he's there. C. That being said, a prostitute or affair can be under a different name as well, or a give permission and keycard to go to room 420. D. Most escorts, prostitutes however don't arrive themselves from what I've seen. The guest would either leave the hotel and come back with them and take them up to their room. I remember one guy who stayed at the hotel 2 to 3 days a week for a year. Every separate stay he'd be bringing back a woman to his room. So he's either got incredible game, or he knows the escort business in that area. E. No, we don't do anything. Prostitutes do their job. We do our job. Their person hiring them is their business. A prostitute coming to the hotel is our business. I am 42, worked for a charity supporting people exiting prostitution last year. My expectations were of flamboyant, drugged-up, strong, independent women. The reality was that a huge percent of the women we supported were coerced into it, and they were just ruined by it, i.e. they had no confidence and no sense of agency over their own lives. Majority had come from extreme trauma in adult life as well as childhood. However, this was one experience with one organization that maybe had a certain profile of client. There are other organizations who would be more about supporting the rights of people who want to continue to sell sex. There were men occasionally also, but I think my organization discouraged it, which was sad. Hotel, Trivago. There should be a Trivago-type app for hookers. Every hour, thousands of women go unlaid. You don't get to see what she looks like until you pay for her. Russian-ruled hooker style. Nice.